Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans will remain at home and host the Denver Broncos in a clash between two 6-5 teams still in the playoff race. But before we get into all that, excuse me, let's go ahead and let me just give a quick recap of last Sunday's game against the Jaguars. So, Texans had a home game hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Big game with the AFC South on the line. With the AFC South on the line, basically. And Texans didn't pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Amendola missed a 58-yard field goal with 34 seconds left in the game. Uh, Tough loss all around. So, a couple things about that game, and I'll just get this out the way. The ref, they made some bad calls, and that's just straight up. And this isn't just something that a Texans fan is just being gripish about. A lot of people saw it that a lot of these calls were kind of messed up, fluky, flimsy, whatever you want to call it. They were jacked up. The motion penalty. That was a weird and absurd call, and what I'm saying, that actually took away a huge completion for Tank, a huge catch for Tank Dell. That was going to be a really big play for us. Um, Speaking of Tank Dell, they took away another catch from him when they ruled him out of bounds. When a lot of the angles and replays showed that his feet was like both feet were down. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that it like blatantly affected the game. What I do think is that what I'm saying, they were they were costly, and not only were they costly, they were more so egregious than anything. And I think that's really what got a lot of people angry. You know what I'm saying? Because these are like calls that they couldn't be believed that these are actually made, but it's been an issue with the officials and for a lot of the games this season. Officiating is, what I'm saying, not has been complained about for almost every other week, and what I'm saying, it just so happened to be our turn. But other than that, Texans just they played good, but then they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So the couple of things I felt cost us protecting CJ Stroud, and actually I say protection because some of that he could have kind of falls on him. We gave up 4 sacks in this game, and a couple of those plays, he kind of held on to the ball a little bit too long, and he didn't get rid of it in time, and so the defenders were there to just get there and take him down. He's usually a little bit more decisive with the football, usually able to hit receivers a little bit quicker. But that Jacksonville, that secondary just seemed to like really blanket our receivers and just kind of held them in the pocket for maybe a little bit longer than what he wanted to. So as a result of that, if he got taken down 4 times. Our running game, it was cool, but it wasn't. uh, so between Damian Pierce made his return back to the game. Excuse me, back to the lineup. But he didn't start. Devin Singletary actually started, and what they tried to do was split carry type of game between these two. The result of that was 32 yards rushing between both of those guys. CJ Stroud was actually the leading rusher in this game with 47 yards. So it's the first time that it's kind of been done in a sense. When Pierce was out there before he got hurt, he took a majority of the carries, and it was like Singletary would come in, or Boom would come in, or whoever else was back there. They would come in and do what they had to do. And this was not the case. This was they tried to even it out and find a balance, and they really couldn't find an effective balance for both of them. So um, I imagine that they might try to lean towards Singletary, who's been having a hot hand these last few games, and they'll let Pierce kind of just work his way back into the lineup if they really want to do the split carry thing. So overall, man, I just say even just to wrap that game up, even through the bad calls, um, the Texans still try to find a way to win that game, and they just came up short. It's simple as that. So it is what it is. Another learning. Every loss is a learning experience for this group. So we'll just leave it at that. Uh, Injury report. So I believe there was a couple of limited practices, and I'm pulling it up right now. Actually, I'm pulling up something else to make sure I'm right. And yeah, so yeah, the update: Titus Howard is out for the year with a knee injury. Expected to miss the rest of the year with a knee injury. Um, so there's that. Juice Scruggs, he did make his return back into the lineup. Um, Injuries. Here we go. The injury list for Thursday. So, Sheldon Rankins and Dalton Schultz did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. This I don't know, kind of funny in the light for their game for their status on this weekend. Uh, Limited practice for Noah Brown and Tank Dell. We'll see what happens with those guys from here all the way to Sunday. Um, Last leaving off of the news with this last bit of good news. Um, CJ Stroud named offensive rookie at AFC rookie of the month, and I think yeah AFC offensive rookie of the month, and as also AFC offensive player of the month. So kudos to him. I think it was the rookie of the week or rookie of the month earlier in the season, his first season in. So just kudos to him stacking up the awards on that MVP journey. But yeah, we'll see. So, so uh, with that being said, it's time. It's the so with that being said, um, we got the Broncos coming into town, and so Denver Broncos, they're 6-5. We're 6-5. It's going to be probably one of the. It's probably going to be just as good as it's going to be just as good as this Jaguars game. To be honest with you, and the Broncos they've been an interesting bunch over the last season and a half. So last year they're supposed to bring it. They brought in Russell Wilson. They thought everything was going to be peaches and cream, orange sickle and cream, whatever you want to call it. Um, and it just didn't turn out that way. Russell Wilson had one of his worst seasons ever, and it kind of continued on into a little bit of, at the height of this year. But he quickly improved, and what I'm saying, he really like had a big turnaround this year. Part of that due to head coach Sean Payton, former Saints head coach Sean Payton. Um, what I'm saying, he's turned this offense around for sure, for sure. And what I'm saying, the Broncos they're on a high right now. They're infamously known for getting 70 points put on them earlier this season, but since then they've changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Especially defensively. They made some personnel moves on the defense. Last 5 games, you know what I'm saying? They're on a 5 game win streak, all that good stuff. So now they're in the middle of a playoff race and they find themselves coming against the Texans, who've kind of had a similar story. Didn't have a great year last year, obviously. Um, eh, Kind of had a little bit of struggle earlier in the season, but turned it around quickly. Defied expectations, I would say, most of the season, thanks in large part to CJ Stroud's play, and how this whole offensive unit has been performing because of his play. So, with that being said, so with that being said, man, both of these teams are gonna come in here. They're gonna clash, and it's gonna be quite the show. So I got just 3 things Texans have to do if they want to kind of pull this win off. Not kind of, but if they want to pull this win off this weekend. So first thing, they have to overlook the Broncos record, overlook the perception of the Broncos. So as I started off with this, you know there's been a perception that the Broncos are just trash, and quite frankly, they haven't done a lot to really deter people from that notion. They have not, um, and so they've been on this, hot little win streak, and so now, people are kind of perking up. You got guys out there creating Russell Wilson uh, apology forms. And so it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? But for what it's worth, the Texans have to like kind of perceive this. They have to look at this team like this is Russell Wilson and Sean Payton in the 2010s. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to look at it like those two are together during that time, during that decade, and not so much in the 2020s. The 2020s with these two is eh, you know, we like what we like so far, but compared to how they could have been in their primes, both as coach and quarterback, would have been astronomical. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how the Texans have to approach this game. I'm pretty sure they approach it like, this is a 6-5 team. They weren't even, what I'm saying, thought of as one of the top teams, probably a month or two ago. But now they're, trying to break into the playoffs. Texans have to take this team as serious as possible because this Broncos team is really standing in the way of our playoff shot. Um, Number two, uh, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Judy, y'all got to make a plan for them. Like they are sneaky good, especially Cortland Sutton. So Judy, he's supposed to be pegged as like the number one, as wide receiver number one. You know what I'm saying? That's cool enough, whatever. But Sutton, he's been doing his thing these last few games. He's been balling out. He's fourth in the league with touchdown receptions. So he's good. You know what I'm saying? As like a number two, you could probably put him up against any like number two wide receiver. Maybe even like probably the number two that might be better than him might be T. Higgins. You know what I'm saying? And that's just off the top of my head. But Cortland Sutton is just as good as Higgins. You know what I'm saying? And so to have him at Russell Wilson's disposal, it's man, it can cause a lot of problems, definitely, especially with how our secondary's been kind of playing, the last few weeks, just a little bit inconsistent. But um, I think if we really put our minds to it, that we can find ways to stop Sutton and Judy. You know what I'm saying? And just keep everything under control. Um, Third and final thing, Russell Wilson still must be stopped. That's still Russell Wilson out there. And he's proven it. He's having, like I said earlier, he had his worst year last year. He's having a great season this year. 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Um, Zero picks in these last 5 games. You know what I'm saying? He's back to balling. You know what I'm saying? And you could probably thank Sean Payton for that. Now, what I will say is this. He has the fourth most sacks in the league right now. Fourth most. So all it's not nothing new. His whole career, he's always been kind of sack prone, and that's because he's kind of did what CJ Watt said that Stroud did in last week's game. Just really kind of hold on to that ball a little bit longer, just to extend the play. You know what I'm saying? If the DBs covering the receiver, just extend the play to let the receiver find an open spot and all this other stuff. So he's done that all of his career, and a lot of times it's worked out for him. But then there are plenty of times where it has not worked out for him. He's either gotten hit or he's gotten sacked. So with that being said, we need to kind of implement that a little bit and just make him hold on to the ball and just attack him quickly. You know what I'm saying? Uh, probably force him to make a quick decision. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. Because if we get to him, we shut him down, we slow that offense down, we'll be able to, put some points up on our own and, get things going. So yeah, those are all like that's all I got for y'all. So first thing the Texans have to do, just overlook the perception that's been bestowed upon the Denver Broncos for the last year and a half. Um, Contain Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy. You know what I'm saying? Like really get after those two, and also just contain Russell Wilson, shut him down. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still a playmaker. He's having a better season this season, and so just get in there, make your stops, and everything should be good to go. So that's all I got for y'all on my birthday weekend. um, yeah, if you're watching this on Facebook, like my page, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. If you're watching this on YouTube, click on the link or my profile or whatever you call it. Click on my channel, like this video, subscribe to my channel. It's all good. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Happy birthday to me and holla black.